Hello, my loves. This week we are reviewing some fifth grade skills. Today we are practicing and reviewing adding decimals. So our standard for today, I can solve decimal problems to hundredths using strategies, concrete models, or drawings. I can explain my reasoning in written form. Now, we've already learned all of these things. We've already learned how to use concrete models and drawings for those decimals. Today, we're going to focus on the algorithm. So we're going to use that simple algorithm, which is just the plain way of lining up your numbers and adding them. And when we line them up, we're going to line up using those place values. Just like when you add a 2-digit number plus a 1-digit number, you line up those place values. But the difference here is though that decimal will help us as a reference. And a lot of times you will hear someone say, line up the decimals. And yeah, we line up the decimals because the decimals are always at the end of a whole number. They're always after the ones place. So if you line up the decimals, you're really just lining up the ones place. And then you're going to add like you normally would with whole numbers. You start from right to left, and then you regroup or you borrow as you go. And then you're going to bring that decimal straight down. Here's our objective for today. We can use place value to add decimals. That's the strategy we're using, place value, or we call it the algorithm, which is kind of just following the recipe or the formula. It's just step by step. Our essential question, how can place value help you add decimals? Our lead measures for today, we've got our Math Antics video, add decimals, and we're going to practice with some IXL. I will do it with you, and then I want you to make sure you have a piece of paper and a pencil and pause the video to see if you can get the math correct. And then you've got your 2 iReady teacher assigned lessons for this week. You're going to multiply decimals and divide decimals. Now, I had my lunch bunch today, and Jasmine asked, why do we always get those iReady lessons on Monday? Now, I assign them to you on Monday, but sometimes it makes more sense for you to do them later on in the week. For instance, this week, today I'm reviewing adding decimals. On Tuesday, we're subtracting. On Wednesday, we're multiplying. And on Thursday, we're dividing. On Friday, we're going to do all of them together and review with some really rigorous, challenging questions. So if you really need a review, then you should watch the videos about multiplying and dividing before you go on to iReady and do these assignments, okay? Now, that doesn't mean that you have to wait until Friday. You can. Sure, you could wait until Friday to do these 2 lessons. Or if you really want to, on Monday morning, you could go ahead and you could look at the multiply and divide lessons. They're right there in my week where it says virtual learning week of April 27th. I've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in there. You're allowed to go ahead and you're allowed to go back. You're allowed to go anywhere you want on my page and get some information. You're also allowed to go on YouTube and research and find some great videos on multiplying and dividing decimals. Do all of that before you go to your iReady lessons. So, yes, you can do your iReady on Monday. Yes, you can do it on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can do it on Friday. Absolutely. I want you to do it when you're ready, though. Don't just rush into it. I want you to make sure that you understand the concepts first. Now, don't forget our grades for this week and for every week. 2 iReady teacher assigned lessons, and then your iReady minutes. Those are your 3 grades all together. And if you want perfect attendance for the week, you need to have 50 minutes for math and 50 minutes for reading. So here we are at my webpage for this week. Now you'll see here on Monday, It says add decimals. You will need paper and a pencil to work out the problems with me. It says to use IXL for extra practice. Now, this is only if you want a lot of extra practice. I do suggest first, if you need extra practice, go to your regular path on iReady, okay? Because remember, you're trying to catch up to 6th grade, and iReady is going to help get you there. IXL will help you too, but remember, iReady teaches you the lesson and then gives you a little bit of practice. iReady does not teach you the lesson, but it gives you a lot of practice. So you can do both of them, do iReady and then go on to do IXL. So some of you are saying you wanted more math lessons. Go on to that iReady. And you can do your multiply decimals and multiply and divide decimals, plus go on to your regular path and do all those catch-up lessons to get you ready for 6th grade. Now, Sean from my homeroom, he does like 13 hours a week, anywhere between 7 and 13 hours a week of iReady math, just iReady math. So he's really catching up. Now he does that, plus he's doing the 2 that I assigned. That's really important. You have to do the 2 that I assigned, and then you can do extra on top of that, okay? And it says here, to get perfect weekly attendance. Another reminder, you must have 50 minutes of reading and 50 minutes of math. And have you been noticing on Class Dojo, when you have perfect attendance, you're getting bonus points. You're getting those dojo points for perfect attendance. I'm handing out dojo points for extra credit activities, and I'm handing out dojo points for students who are going onto their portfolio and posting things, right? So get those points added up, and maybe we should have like a leaderboard to show who has like the top dojo points. That would be kind of cool. That'd be interesting to have. So you want to make sure that you've got perfect attendance, 50 minutes of reading and 50 minutes of math. Okay, here we are at our Math Antics video.
Hi, I'm Rob. Welcome to Math Antics. In this lesson, we're going to learn about decimal arithmetic. But before we get started, if you don't already know how to do multi-digit arithmetic with regular whole numbers, be sure to watch our videos that cover those subjects first. That's really important because I'm just going to show you how you can modify the procedures that we already learned in those videos so that they work for decimal numbers. So if you don't know how to do those procedures already, this video won't make very much sense. Specifically, you should make sure you've watched the videos about multi-digit addition, subtraction, multiplication, and long division. If you know how to do the problems in those videos, then decimal arithmetic won't be too hard. That's because the procedures for decimal arithmetic are basically the same as they are for whole numbers. But there's a few important differences that you need to know about. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. Are you ready? Let's start with an easy one. Multi-digit addition. When adding multi-digit whole numbers, the key was to stack the numbers up so that the ones place digits line up in a column, which ensured that all the other number places lined up in columns too. Then you just add up the digits in each column, starting with the ones place and working to the left. Well, adding multi-digit decimal numbers works the same way. The main difference is that instead of lining up the ones place digits when we stack the numbers, we line up the decimal points instead. But wait a minute. I mean, isn't that the same thing as lining up the ones place digits? Ah, yes it is. And that's because the decimal is our reference mark that always goes between the ones place and the tenths place. So lining up the decimal points is the same thing as lining up the ones places. It makes sure all the number places line up in columns. Now, you've probably noticed that decimal numbers can have different numbers of decimal digits. For example, 10.8 has only one decimal digit, but 5.34 has two decimal digits. And what that means is that when you line up the decimal points of the two decimal numbers, they might not form a nice column on the right edge. Some of the digits might be missing, but that's no problem. Remember, if there's not a digit in a particular number place, you can just put a 0 there to help you keep track of things. Now that these numbers are lined up by their decimal points, we can add them column by column. But instead of starting with the ones place, like we always did with whole numbers, we start with whatever number place column is the furthest to the right. In this case, that's the hundredths place. So we'll start there. So we add the digits in each column, carrying or regrouping as needed, and we get 1614. So we're done, right? Wrong. There's one last really important step. Remember, we're doing decimal addition, so we can't just forget about that decimal point. We need to bring a copy of it straight down into our answer line, so we keep the same reference point for our number places. Now we can see that the answer is really 16.14. That's not so hard, is it? And I've got more good news. Decimal subtraction works the same way.
All right, awesome. Let's move on to some IXL practice. Okay, here I am at IXL. And remember I told you this month, the free trial we have, they gave us access to language arts and science and social studies. So we have access to all of these now for our extra practice. Let me go down back to my decimals. And one more, here it is, H, add and subtract decimals. So when you move your cursor over that, it's going to show you a little example. And it gives you, it looks like it gives you 4 examples. So you can see what you want to do. We're going to do quite a few from here to get a variety of problems. So this is a simple one where we're doing just the algorithm. All right, so we have 4 8/10 plus 4 3/10. Now is the time for you to get that paper and pencil. Now on your paper, please make it organized. And you're gonna wanna have, I'm gonna draw a quick piece of paper there. You don't want to do something like this. Do you? No. You want it to be organized and you want it to be neat. If you want to number them, you can. We start in the left hand. Now it's hard for me because I like I told you, my stylus stopped working last week, so now I have to use my finger. A little bit harder for me, but luckily you have paper and pencil, so you can write your numbers nice and neat and organized. All right, here's where you're beginning. So make sure that you pause the video and start adding. All right, my first step is I'm going to add those 2 numbers in my 10ths place, because we always start the furthest to the right. And I have 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got a 1, and I'm going to carry it over. I'm going to regroup it into the tens place, or well, sorry, the ones place, really. And the reason I'm doing that is because we have 11, but it's not really just 11, it's 11 tenths. And if you remember, we talked about tenths earlier in the year as like a tenth of a dollar, which is 10 cents, it's a dime. If I have 11 dimes, I have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 cents, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 cents, which is a dollar, plus 10 cents more. So if I was talking about money, it would look like this. But if we're not talking about money, it would be 1.1 or 1 1/10. So here's my 1 in my whole number section, and here's my 1/10 in my tenths section. So now that I carried it over, I know 4 plus 4 is 8, plus the 1 is 9, right? And now we bring that decimal straight down. We bring that decimal down when we're adding and subtracting. So did you get the right number? Did you get 9 1/10? Okay. Now I'm going to make mine a little bit bigger, give myself some more room. How about that? Better? Okay. Go ahead and write down this problem. Line up your numbers. Pause the video. and see if your answer matches mine. Okay, I happen to know that 7 plus 7 is 14, and 1 more than 14 is going to be 15, and I regroup. And 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 is my answer, and then that decimal comes straight down. So I should have, if I'm correct, 10 and 5/10. Awesome. Did you get the right answer? Okay, this one has no whole numbers, but we have tenths and we have hundredths. So write down your problem nice and neat, line those place values up, line up your ones place, your decimals, your tenths, and your hundredths. Now 9 plus 7, we've got 16. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11, regroup. And 1 plus nothing is 1, and bring that decimal straight down. Are you pausing? Are you getting these answers? Now, what I like about IXL is that if I get the wrong answer and hit submit, they're going to tell me incorrect. The correct answer is 1. So here's what I did. I put a 7 in there. They are telling me, remember to line up the decimal points and then add as you would add whole numbers. And then remember to write the decimal point in the answer. So just like 6 plus 4 is 10, 6/10, well, give me my pencil back. This is 6/10. And this, not that one, is 4/10. Now let's pretend, like I like to do in the classroom, that we're not talking about tenths. Let's say we're talking about apples. Apples. So what is 6 apples plus 4 apples? It's not 10 bananas, is it? It's 10 apples, right? If 6 apples plus 4 apples is 10 apples, then that tells me that, let me get rid of my apples. Oh, went too far. Okay. So now that I know in my head that 6 apples plus 4 apples equals 10 apples, then I know that 6/10 plus 4/10 equals 10/10. And what does 10/10 look like? Well, if it's 10/10, here's my ones place. Here's my decimal. Here's my tenths, my hundredths, my thousandths, right? To the left of my ones is my tens, and then my hundreds, and all those regular ones. Now let's think about this. When you're doing place value, only one digit can fit inside each place. So if I have 10/10, that S didn't want to fit there, did it? Here's my tenths. Can I put a 10 in there? No, I can't. That's when we have to regroup or borrow or carry. It goes over to the next one. So 10/10 is going to be a whole number, just like 10 dimes is one whole dollar. So that's why the answer is 1. When you are doing any kind of practice and you get something wrong, please don't just say, okay, I got it wrong, move on. I want you to stop and I want you to look at your answers on your paper and find out, what did you get wrong? Did you maybe miscount? Did you add 6 plus 4 equals 11 accidentally? Or did you think that was 6 plus 3? Did you write the problem down wrong? Or did you put the decimal in the wrong place? Put a little note next to your mistake so that way you can remind yourself in the next problem, don't make that mistake again. Double check everything. All right, now we're getting to some good ones. These are a little bit more challenging, right? Because we have tens place, a ones place, and a tenths place. And I'm gonna line mine up nice and neat. Okay, let's start in the tenths place. 2 tenths plus 2 tenths is 4 tenths. Let's talk about that ones place. 0 ones plus 2 ones is 2 ones. And then finally we have the tens. 1 10 plus 2 tens is 3 tens. And notice that 3 is in, well, actually, it doesn't say 3 tens yet, does it? Right now it says 324. And that's not the right answer because this decimal needs to come down. Oh, now it's 32. And remember, that's the time we're allowed to say and 4 tenths. I hope you guys are pausing and getting all these answers right. 32 and 4 tenths. Fantastic. Okay, let's clear my drawing. Let's go back. So now that we practiced some of those easy peasy lemon squeezy ones, where are we? Add and subtract decimals, perfect. It says choose decimals with a particular sum or difference, complete the decimal addition or subtraction sentence. We've got inequalities, estimate the sums and differences. Let me see what this one is. Simple stuff, putting together. Oh. Add and subtract decimals. Let's see what we've got here. Get that paper and pencil ready. And I'm going to skip this one. Got it. Okay. The reason why I did that is because we're doing subtraction tomorrow. I want to stick with addition today. So I went till I found an addition problem. So that's going to be a little clue for you right now. This is obviously going to be an addition problem, sorry, because Miss Allison's teaching addition problems today. Let me get my highlighter. Let's highlight some important information. Hannah. Does it matter that her name is Hannah? No, it doesn't. But what did Hannah do? Hannah, here's Hannah. And she mixed 7 9/10 grams of salt into a pot of soup she was cooking. So I'm going to make that pot of soup. Now, you don't have to draw this picture, but this is what needs to be in your imagination. So she poured in, or she shook in, here, look, this is my salt shaker. And she's shaking in 7 9/10 grams of salt into the pot of soup. But before she served the soup, what did she do? What did she do before she served the soup? Read the story. Before she served it, she put in 9.3 grams. How much salt did she put in all? Now remember, I told you guys, don't look for those clues that say in all means add, or how many more means subtract, or each means to multiply, because they like to trick you. They like to trick you. They might use the word in all when we're multiplying. It's possible. So make sure that you're not just saying, okay, in all equals add. I need you to read the story. I need you to picture it. Use my favorite strategy, act it out, which means kind of picture it as if it is on a television screen. Okay? Act it out. Picture it. And then you can really see what they're asking us to do. They're asking us to add them because first she mixed in this and then she mixed that one. So let's add them up. Go ahead and pause the video so you can add, and let's see if you get the right answer. All right, I've got 9, 10, 11, 12. Regroup. And I have 9 plus 1 is 10, and 10 plus 7 is 17. 172 grams. Whoops. Is that right? Let me think about this. She first had 7.9 grams, which is about 8, right? It's really close to 8. And then she added another 9. No, that's 17. So how did I get 172? I did something wrong. What did I do wrong? Oh, yes. And you know why? Look, I can barely see that little decimal point. I'm going to make it nice and dark. Can you see it better now? Oh, I have to be careful to write my decimals a little bit darker next time so that I remember to put that decimal into my answer. Maybe on my paper, I'm going to say to myself, check the decimal. Or maybe write a note that says, don't forget to put the decimal in your answer. So what did we say? I already forgot what the answer was. You're going to have to yell it out really loud to me, please. Yell it out really loud. It was 72, right? Oh, there we go. 9 plus 3 is 12, so I'm going to have a 2 over there, right? And then I'm going to regroup, and that would be 7. That's not right, Miss Allison. What did I do wrong? I have to go back and do my math, don't I? I can't cut corners. 7.9, 9.3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 9, 10. Oh, it's 17. Where did I get 72 from? I would have gotten that one wrong. And you know what? That is what happens when you erase your work. You guys are so lucky that you get to have a piece of paper in front of you and you can always double check your answers. Let me double check now before I erase this when I shouldn't have, right? 17 and 2/10, 17 and 2/10. Yes. Good, no more mistakes on that one for me. Okay, oh, here's a good one. It rained 1/10 inches on Saturday and 1/8 inches on Sunday. How much did it rain on Saturday and Sunday combined? So let's start with some information. What they're trying to get us to answer is this question right here. How much did it rain on Saturday and Sunday combined? So this is Saturday, this is Sunday, and they want it to be combined. So when we combine things, we put them together, we squish them together, we add them together. All right, so we need to add Saturday. Which one is Saturday? Here it is. 1/10 on Saturday. And we need to find Sunday. Here it is. 8/10 on Sunday. Now what's the combined amount? Well, 8 plus 1 is 9. 0 plus 0. So is my answer 9 inches? No, because remember I have to bring down that decimal, right? So it's going to be 0 and 9/10 inches. Perfect. Okay, here's another addition problem. Let's read this together. Malik picked 2 pumpkins. All right, my favorite strategy. Act it out. This is the Malik Show on TV. And Malik picked 2 pumpkins. My pumpkin that looks, oh, that looks all right. And then here's my other pumpkin, and it goes this way, doesn't it? There, that's better. This was like the basketball pumpkin. So he picked 2 pumpkins. You got it? The first pumpkin weighed how much? 2 and 24. Don't be lazy, Daisy. Say 2.24. You are not a flower that doesn't move and do math. You are a brilliant mathematician. And you're going to say 2 and 24 hundredths. 2 and 24 hundredths, because the last digit is in the hundredths place. So we name that last digit. That's the first pumpkin, 2 and 24 hundredths pounds. And the second pumpkin weighed 4 and, what's that number? 91. 4 and 91 what? Hundredths. 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 And how much will they weigh all together? Okay, go ahead and add them up and then press play to see if you get the right answer. All right, 4 plus 1 is 5. 9, 10, 11. I'm going to carry that. 4, 5, 6, 7. And don't forget that decimal. So my answer is 7 and 15 what? Not 15 tenths, it's 15 hundredths. 7 and 15 hundredths. All right, here's another addition problem. Mike bike. I like that. Mike biked 6 and 4/10 kilometers on Thursday and 8 and 6/10 kilometers on Friday. How far did Mike bike? I love that. How far did Mike bike in all on Thursday and Friday? So we are talking about Mike and his bike, and they are traveling on Thursday, and then he and his bike are traveling on Friday. And they want to know how far in all together on Thursday and Friday. So we need to find Thursday. Here's Thursday. 6 and 4/10. What about Friday? How far did he bike? 8 and 6/10 kilometers. And then we add it up. 6 plus 4 is 10. Regroup. And then I've got 6. I know that 6 plus 6 is 12. So that means 6 plus 8 is 2 more. It would be 14. Plus 1 would be 15. Or I could say 6 plus 1 is 7. And this is very close to 7. It's only 1 more than 7. 7 plus 7 is 14, plus 1 more is 15. Bring down my decimal. Now I have a choice here. I could write my answer as 15 and 0/10 kilometers, or I can just say it's 15. Brilliant. Okay. Let's go back. Now, you can do what I'm doing and just do a few problems, then go back and forth. But if you finish that whole activity, you kind of open up these little games and these little cards and things. So that's a lot of fun to do all of that practice. Let's choose decimals with a particular sum or difference. This is where it's going to get a little challenging, so we need to think. Think through all of this. My computer's thinking right now. There we go. Okay. It says choose two numbers from the box to complete the sentence. Blank and blank have a sum of 4 and 3/10. Have a sum of 4 and 3/10. If you remember from the beginning of the year, we have addend plus addend equals sum. So they're telling us that the sum is 4 and 3/10. So what are the two addends? What two numbers can add up to 4 and 3/10? How about 4 and 7/10? Can I add one of these numbers to that to get 4 and 3/10? That's not going to work, is it? Get rid of you. So now I have eliminated that, and I'm down to 3 choices. I have 1/10, 4 and 2/10, and then 4/10. So let me try this combination first. 1/10 plus 4/10 equals 5/10. Is this 5/10? Nope. So that combination is not going to work. Let's try a different combination. Let's try this one plus this one. I have 4 and 2/10 plus 4/10. Well, I know that 2/10 plus 4/10 is 6/10. And 4 plus 6/10 is going to be 4 and 6/10. Does that match? No, that doesn't match, so that can't be it. What other combination did we not do yet? Did we do this combination? How about 1/10 plus 4 and 2/10? Oh, if 2/10 plus 1/10 equals 3/10, then 4 and 2/10 plus 0 and 1/10 will equal 4 and 3/10. Absolutely. So our answer is, oh, get in there, 1/10, and what was the other one? Was that right? That's right. Let me clear. Subtraction tomorrow. We'll get that one tomorrow. Yes, we know it's incorrect. Subtraction again. Okay, we're dealing with what now? A sum. So I need to find the two addends that equal a sum of 7 and 5/10. 7 and 5/10. So you know what? Let's break this down. I'm going to grab a highlighter and let's think about this tenths place. What two numbers in my tenths place would have me end up with a 5? Well, let's look at the tenths place. I've got a 7, a 2, a 3, and a 9. What two numbers add up to a 5? Oh, it's these two, isn't it? 2 and 3 equal 5. So let's test that one out. 2 and 3. So we're going to check it out. We've got a 0 and 2/10 and a 7 and 3/10. Does that equal 7 and 5/10? 3 and 2 is 5. 0 and 7. Yes, it does work out. So that means that we were right. 7 and 3/10, 0 and 2/10. Let me double check my math over here. Make sure I didn't write down the wrong thing. It looks good. Well done. Oh, that was simple, wasn't it? Subtraction. We don't want subtraction. Sum. We're at a sum again. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so here's my sum. That means it's the answer to my problem. 17 and 4/10. And let's do the same strategy that we did before. Let's look at the tenths place. Here's a tenths, here's a tenths, here's a tenths, here's a tenths. What two numbers would have me add up to equal 4 tenths? Well, it would be these two, right? 2 tenths and 2 tenths equals 4 tenths. So let's try adding those numbers. 8 and 2 tenths, 9 and 2 tenths. 2 plus 2 is 4. And 8 and 8 is 16, plus 1 more is 17. We've got the right answer. So that tells me, let's go back to 8 and 2 tenths and 9 and 2 tenths. You know, I thought these were going to be challenging. All right, pause the video and see. Oh, no, don't pause the video. Stop it. Not yet. Okay, there we go. Now you can pause the video and see what you can find as the two missing addends. Okay, so your sum is 1 and 5 tenths, and you need to think about what numbers can I add to get a 5? I've got a 9, a 6, a 1, and a 1. None of those numbers will add up to 5. What is going on? I think I heard somebody say that they're going to have to regroup. And you know what? I think you might be right about that. So what two numbers, when I add them up, have a 5 in the end? So for instance, let's say this is a 9. Let's pretend this is a 6. Pretend that's a 1, and pretend that's a 41. When I add up any of these numbers, will I get a 5 at the end? Well, if I add these up, I get 15. 15, look at that. Just like Mathantics said, if you are adding up the whole numbers, it's the same strategy as decimals. We just put that decimal in there. Oh, so the answers are 0 and 9 tenths plus 0 and 6 tenths. Perfect. Subtraction. All right, we're going to do one more. All right, we've got a sum. Go ahead and pause the video and let's see what you can come up with. All right, let's see. If I'm looking at that 1, I need to think, what numbers can I add up to make a 1? Absolutely none of those will add up to make 1. But you know what? 8 plus 3 is 11. And if I were to think of a 58 plus 3, 58 plus 3 is 61, isn't it? So 5 and 8 tenths plus 3 tenths is 6 and 1 tenth. So that's going to be the answer. Wonderful. So that turned out to be pretty okay. I thought it was going to be very challenging. All right, this is going to be the last one for today. Complete the decimal addition or subtraction sentence. Now this is when things get a little bit more rigorous. They get a little bit more challenging, And you got to really think through and use those strategies that your favorite math teacher, Miss Allison, taught you or reminded you, because you have some amazing math teachers in 4th grade and 3rd grade too. Some of you had an amazing 3rd grade teacher, Miss Allison, who taught you those strategies. I'm just teasing. Every single one of our teachers is amazing. And we all use these same strategies. We absolutely all do. And if you have this kind of equation, this is an algebraic equation. It says box minus 4/10 equals 2/10. It sure does. Sometimes you see the letter N minus, and N could stand for the unknown. It is the variable, right? The unknown number. So what is the unknown number? What is the missing number? Well, let's think about this. Remember how we were talking about turning it into whole numbers? N minus 4 equals 2. What number minus 4 equals 2? Well, you guys are telling me it's 6. And you know how I can check that? I can check it by plug it in. I can say, I think it's 6. Let me stick a 6 in there. 6 minus 4 is 2. That is correct. So that's using the strategy guess and check. So we kind of guessed it was 6. Definitely, that's a great strategy that you can use. Another strategy is to do the inverse operation. What does inverse mean? It means reverse. The reverse operation. All right. So we're talking about that reverse operation. And let's reverse this operation. What is the opposite of subtraction? Addition. So what is 4/10 plus 2/10? The answer is 6/10. So now I can flip this over and say 6/10 minus 4/10 is 2/10, right? That is the inverse operation. And it's part of something that we call the, the fact family. You remember that way back in the day, back when you were a little kid, you learned that if 1 plus 2 is 3, yep, there it is. 1 plus 2 is 3. Then you know that 2 plus 1 is 3. That's that commutative property, right? And if that's true, then 3 minus 2 is 1, and 3 minus 1 is 2. And I know your teacher taught you that. I hope you were listening and paying attention, because that's really important. That's that commutative property. And if you think about it again as commutative, community, family, we all come together to make one happy family. And it doesn't matter which order you go in. I can put you guys in alphabetical order and we're still a learning family. I can put you in order from tallest to shortest, we're still a learning family, right? It doesn't matter what order we put you in, we are still a family, and that is a fact. So we know the answer here, don't we? It is 0 and 6/10. Okay. Go ahead and write this down on a piece of paper. Now, I know you can do a lot of these in your head, but I want you to write it on a piece of paper, and then that way you can show your family what you've been working on in class today. Also, sometimes we make mistakes. You guys know I make mistakes. And you help me with my mistakes. I want you to help yourself with your mistakes. Sometimes we accidentally think the wrong answer. If you have it on a piece of paper, chances are you might catch that mistake. I'm going to skip that one because that's subtraction, and I just realized, I bet you got it right anyway because you guys are so smart. I bet you got that right. We're adding. Miss Allison, we're adding. Come on now, stop it. We're going to do one more, guys, and then I think we're going to be done because you are so good. Really? It's all going to be subtraction? Tomorrow, I promise tomorrow. Okay, here we go. Ooh. Oh, I like this one. Ooh, this is a good one. All right, write it down. Don't even try and say you don't know how to do this. Write it down. Think to yourself. You got this. Come on. There's my unknown number. Plus 8 1/10 equals 15 3/10. I'm going to tell you what I'm not going to do. I am not going to guess on this one because I've got a lot of guessing. I can guess 2 plus 1 is 3, and then I got to guess the other one. I mean, I'm just going to subtract. That's what I'm going to do. What? I'm going to subtract. Watch this. What's 3 minus 1? 2. What's 15 minus 8? It's 7, right? Did you get 7? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Yeah, it's 7. So 7.2 or 7 2/10. I use my inverse operation. 7 2/10. Wonderful. Okay. Perfect job, boys and girls. Let's go back and clear this mess. Okay. Now that we just finished adding decimals, and we were working out the problems with IXL, you can go and use your IXL account for extra practice. Remember, your IXL has changed, and don't forget your iReady. Multiply decimals has got to be done this week for a grade. Divide decimals has got to be done this week for a grade. Now, I will tell you the best thing to do is probably get it done by Friday. Don't wait for the weekend, because remember, I email your parents and I let them know that, you know, their sweet baby or has not done their iReady assignments. And parents get upset and they say, look, my kid's been on for 4 hours already. And I say, I know your child is amazing, but they're not doing the assignments. Okay. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.